This meeting is being recorded.
Tech fans, welcome to Up with the White and Gold. He is GaTechJon Watts. I am Jeremy the Impact York, and we're here to talk all things Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket football. Tons of things to get into. They had their amazing performance against Virginia Tech that we will get into very, very shortly. If you want to watch this, if you want to really support the show, go to YouTube, Impact_Media_, look for Up with the White and Gold, or any of the other shows that you might like. Make sure to subscribe, leave questions, comments, suggestions, all of those things there. You will see me drinking from this cup, maybe if it shows it, a few times. Same thing I did with the UGA show. If you guys will leave a comment on what flavor and what you think I am drinking, we'll send you guys a prize of some kind. We try to do these occasionally. And more than likely, it'll be something to John. So it'll be something nice.
I don't know. Things over here are pretty much broken.
He might send you a Chuck. Who knows?
What? Can't get back if it's...
He will send you those used batteries out of that remote. That's what he'll send you. Those used batteries. Now we'll send you a prize pack of some kind. It'll be something kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe we'll send you a card to that place. Since Brent Key and Chris Winkie apparently don't want us to buy them lunch. It is what it is, I guess. But as I said, they played some hokey football for sure. They played some hokey football against Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech got them. I really think this has a lot to do with this team is centered around Haynes King and him running the offense. And so if anybody else tries to come in, they can kind of hold the ship afloat, but they can't really drive it anywhere. And I think that's basically what happened with this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. This is, the first time we've had to go down to a third-string quarterback in a game. And even the third-string quarterback did better than the second-string in this particular game, which, with the amount of points we scored, not saying a whole lot. But I think driving the game behind Haynes King and Jabal Haynes, the connection that they all kind of make, and when you have your quarterback, you have your quarterback. You're like, okay, what plays we design, what's going to work for him, and your offense kind of learns on that and trains on that, and then when you something like this where it's just, what happens? Granted, I hate to say it, but, Patriots haven't done that well since Brady left. It happens.
Or NASCAR. NASCAR is a great example that if the car is set up for Chase Elliott and then Chase Elliott somehow is not able to drive that week, you can put in, what's his name, Barry, who is a great driver. Up-and-coming driver, was a great driver, but that car's set up for Chase Elliott. If anybody else gets in there, it's not going to be set up for them. You're driving somebody else's car. Just not a good thing.
Right. And we definitely an example there where if you do watch NASCAR, you can see how much better Josh Berry's doing now in his own car than he was.
Yep.
Got to fill in for somebody. It's definitely
our audience. Of course, our audience watches NASCAR. We all watch NASCAR.
Right. So, definitely trying to figure out. Okay, well now that you've got your main guy is hurt. So what can we do with the next guy? Next guy up. Okay, now he's a little different. In this case, they're definitely different. You got a guy who's generally used as a running quarterback when you set up your team, your scheme, and your offense to throw, and then they kind of set up the run. And then now having to put in your third string, makes things definitely a lot different.
Yeah, and Aaron Philo, however you say it, didn't do that bad of a job. He did slightly better than Zach Pyron did. I was hoping maybe he would be the backup moving forward. It's not personal, Zach Pyron. I was thinking he's been there forever and ever, and he's actually just a sophomore. So got to figure that one out. But it just seemed like everything Virginia Tech did worked, or at least 2/3 of it. And Tech just couldn't get anything going. Jamal Haynes only 47 total points. They didn't score a touchdown, right? Those were 2 field goals, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
Yeah. At least one of them was 51. At least Aiden Bird decided he was going to do something. And David Shanahan needs a massage on his leg because nobody should have to punt 7 times in a game. But, what other takeaways do you have from this?
Definitely. Even on both sides of it, we definitely didn't do anywhere near what we needed to do. But Virginia Tech, even themselves, did just enough to kind of finish out because nothing happened. Scoring wise in the fourth quarter, and not a whole lot in the first quarter either. Going up 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, pretty much everything happened in that second quarter. But it was 3-0, 3-7, 6-7. At that point, not a whole lot going on right there. And then it just kind of fell away at that point when Virginia Tech was able to score a touchdown before the half, and then another one in the third quarter, and then just kind of keep us at bay. So not a whole lot. Not really I wouldn't say probably not a real good fun game to watch. It was definitely a battle, but it is what it is. We've learned. Okay, we've been running Pyron. Now we know what. I said Philo, whatever his name. Apologize. I haven't followed up on our third string guy yet. It's just something we'll have to look at moving forward. We do have a week off to kind of build up and kind of practice coming up against a very strong opponent, and not this week, next week. And kind of finishing up the rest of the season is a pretty tough schedule going forward. So when you've got two teams in the top 10 coming up on your schedule.
Yeah. I was just talking with fans from one of those teams about that game earlier.
Yeah.
Now, I do like we ended up with 2 sacks, with 1.5 of them going to Romello Height and Sylvan Yondoin getting the other half a sack. And if you look, 2 sacks, not a bad number. Virginia Tech doesn't get sacked very often. And but 11 tackles for loss for the Yellow Jackets. I like that stat. I definitely like that there was 11. Want to know? It's a good thing that the camera turned the direction it is. I will put it that way. I like the tackles for loss being 11. That's a lot. They were in the backfield a lot, but that tells you Virginia Tech was able to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, and those were more than likely the running backs that were getting hit back there.
Yeah, definitely. It did a lot better than the circus is going on in the background of the show right now.
The circuses just went upstairs.
Yeah, I got the wrong angle on this camera right now. You got a glimpse someone right in the stairs.
It makes it look like you have ghosts. It's really funny.
Yeah. Well, you probably saw a real pale one if you looked really close a minute ago when the 8-year-old ran downstairs. But almost 9. So we'll be 9 next Wednesday. Growing up. But yeah, definitely back attack here. Definitely, defensive wise, it was still not a bad game. Defensive wise, like I said, we held them to 21, and it was close. Close mid to second half of that second quarter was still fairly close. And at that point, it was 7-6. So it was a 1-point game. And then, like I said, it fell apart there. But definitely still not bad defensive wise. We just couldn't do anything offensive to counteract with it.
Yeah, not much else we can really say about that game. It wasn't a super stinker. It wasn't necessarily the world's greatest thing. You mentioned what's coming up. They got the bye week coming up this week. Then they get Miami, I think, then another week off because they don't play. They play the 9th, then they play 12 days later. Oh, that's the Thursday. That's why. Okay.
Yeah. So ninth, and then
So they get
the
Miami on a Saturday. They get NC
yep.
State on a Thursday on ESPN, and then they'll finish up on a Friday against Georgia. Wow. All right. So,
Yep.
question. They only need one to be bowl eligible, but do you think they can win 2 out of the next 3 games?
I mean, it's gonna be difficult. I mean, on paper, the one would be the Thursday night game against NC State. Ideally, we could, do something with that. NC State is on 4-4 and on 1-3 in conference. So ideally, we should be able to take that one for the 6th win. But for a 7th win, you're asking us to either beat Georgia, which we haven't done in over a decade, or Miami. Miami again. What happened last year?
Yeah.
No, they made a bad play. We were able to capitalize on it. So while that 7th win looks really hard to do, between the two, it would likely be Miami, unless, like I said, unless we just found that mojo, that magic that we had last time we beat Georgia.
It was in Athens, wasn't it? A couple years ago?
It is, let's see.
It's like,
I know it's been a while. Georgia's in the 20 years.
I'm going to just take a guess because I was talking to a Georgia fan earlier today, and I thought I heard him say this, that it was like 2017, and it was in Athens, or am I off on that?
Let's see. It had so last time Georgia Tech won would be 2016 in Athens.
Okay. That's close.
Yeah, 28-27 win.
Mm-hmm. With a controversial
well,
fumble at the end, I believe. I think that's
I
part
was.
of it. There was something fishy going on.
I think in my mind, I was thinking it's been over a decade since we beat them in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think 99 or something. I think was when you did actually.
Yep, got it right on the not on that one. November 27, 1999. 51-48 in overtime. But yeah, our last 4 wins against them have all been in Athens between 2000 and 2016. So
that's interesting because that's where they'll be playing. But don't want to get we got the cart so far ahead of the horse. The horse probably gave up and went to the barn. But they got the bye week. We always say you can't win the bye week, but you can definitely lose it. Tech doesn't usually have, players that end up in the back of cars with lights on top of them, and they don't tend to usually have things happen. But for the most part, keep everybody healthy, heal up the ones that you need, especially Haynes King, and you just get an extra week to get ready for Miami because Miami's got a game this weekend.
Yep.
I forgot who they face.
They're playing Duke.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they play Duke. Duke's a good team. I don't think Miami's going to end up undefeated, but I'll be honest. Looking at their schedule, they might be. Duke is probably going to give them a game. Georgia Tech's going to give them a game. Don't know if Wake Forest will. Syracuse will. One of those. There's a 3 out of 4 chance one of them hand them a loss. But I would, sit back, relax. It's like having a random day off in the middle of the week. Just kind of recharge the batteries and get ready to attack the next game. the next day. And I think, Tech's sitting in a good spot. I think they needed a break right here. I think it's a good time. You, like I said, heal up people, get some extra time to look at Miami, look at some things they do, and then you welcome them into Bobby Dodd Field.
Yeah, definitely. The teams you're mentioning there. I mean, Duke is 6-2 overall, 2-2 in the conference, and then you got Syracuse at 5-2, 2-2 in conference. Definitely some teams that haven't played too bad. I mean, this season, 2 losses, they're pretty well there. But yeah, Miami definitely. I mean, right now looking at one of the 4 teams that are undefeated in the ACC play. 2 of them with 1 loss overall. So you're kind of looking, the way it looks right now, probably a 4-horse race there with those guys, depending on what they can do the rest of the season. Like I said, Miami could win out and be fine. It depends on what Clemson, SMU, and Pittsburgh do for the rest of the season going forward. But yeah, definitely the week off will help. Like I said, get some rest with the players that we definitely need to get rest. Hopefully, Haynes King will be able to go. Because definitely could use our number 1 guy for these last 3 games. So, we'll see. I know it happens. I feel you. But yeah, it definitely. Hopefully, some time off to figure out some things, figure out where the last few games have gone wrong, and see what we can do going forward.
All right. If you can, pull up the overall college rankings right now, because we got a little bit of extra time, so I'm going to do what we did with the UGA show as well. We're mainly going to look basically about the top 16, but the top 12 mostly.
Let's see what we got.
You got that up?
My internet. Let's see. Come on. Let's see more.
But, obviously, we know that the top 12 are going to make the college playoffs. That's the way it's going to go.
Yep.
The top 4 are going to have byes, and they'll all be conference winners, I believe. And then everybody else is kind of an at-large for the most part.
Yep.
I mean, kind of those other spots are just kind of an ollie auction free at that point. But if you're looking at them, I'm gonna start with 9 through 12. And if you're looking at the ESPN one, for some reason this is an ESPN thing. There's a tie at 11 because ESPN can't let go of the BCS. They think ties can still happen. You can't. But if you look at, you got BYU at 9, Texas A&M at 10, Iowa State, and then Clemson. Do you see any of those 4 not making the playoff? And if so, any of the 4 after them getting in?
I think the problem with Clemson right now is the way things are going. It's a battle between them and Miami to win the ACC. Now that we no longer have our divisions, we don't necessarily have to worry ACC championships, but I think that they're kind of teetering there on the edge there of could be someone outside looking in because sitting at number 13, you've got an undefeated team, Indiana, at 8-0. So I definitely think there could be some movement around there. Even looking after that at Alabama, who's I know they're 6-2, but this is the SEC we're talking about. So things could really shake up.
I don't know if it's this week or the next week, but number 14 Alabama and number 16 LSU are going to play each other. And that is basically an elimination game because the winner of that is probably going to make the top 12 and the loser of that is not.
Yeah. And kind of adding on to what I said earlier about the top 4 teams running for the ACC battle, all four of them are in the top 20. Pitt at 18, SMU at 20. It's again undefeated Pittsburgh, one loss SMU sitting there. It all depends on, again, the ranking systems. It's interesting seeing a BYU there, an Iowa State, Indiana, Boise State. It's interesting seeing them being ranked when it's generally kind of different. I do like some of the teams. Even if you want to drop down even further, I know Army. Their issue there is kind of the strength of schedule and their opponents, which kind of keeps them down. So, but definitely, I think that, in my opinion, Clemson has the most to really try to keep themselves in.
All right, well, let's go 5 through 8. You got Miami, Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame. Would you have them in that order? Do you think they finish in that order?
I don't. I think there might be a little shake up in the little 6 through 8. Because, Texas, Tennessee, they've both been kind of, I know they're both at one loss, but, they've run for a little while and then they had to take a loss. And, Notre Dame's on a streak. They won their last 6. So to go, 1-1 to start the season and then just go on a roll.
Yeah.
Even though I don't really like them, we mentioned that on multiple shows. I think they definitely are on a roll to kind of keep moving up a little bit. Depending on, I haven't looked at their schedule, but I think they have the potential to move up.
I think on Hunker Down, I said that if I had to put them, if they had to all play each other in in this parking lot, a neutral zone, that I would put Miami between Texas and Tennessee, and I think they'd probably be in the right. Basically, flip Texas and Miami, and I think that's probably, based on how good they are, probably where those teams are. But we never know, because Texas and Tennessee can go on a run and run this thing out, or they can both take another loss in the next couple of weeks, and that might be it. But then we go to the top 4. Oregon, UGA, Penn State, Ohio State. Oregon and Penn State are both undefeated at the moment, only one loss for Ohio State and Georgia. Do you see those 4 finishing in the top 4?
Again, kind of, let's see what we have here. So, want to kind of look at their schedule, because after we've kind of moved away, I did see
Oregon,
Texas.
they have to play each other, or I know Penn State is going to face Ohio State at some point, but I do feel like that those probably are the top 4 teams in the country.
Yeah, it definitely depends. What Georgia wants to do the rest of the season. I don't expect much out of. I hate to say it, but our game, I don't really expect a whole lot. But they do play Tennessee on the 16th. So you got a 2-7 game, depending on who wants to show up for that game. As we've seen throughout the season, Alabama loses to Vandy. Tennessee does well, and Georgia loses, but then beats Texas. So it's kind of a jumble there as how they want to finish out. And I definitely I can easily see them being the top 4. Oregon and Penn State are both, like I said, playing well. Penn State, like I said, they definitely still have to play Ohio State, and I don't know what happened to the third part of this triangle, Michigan, this year. What's going on with them? Because
they came back down to earth. That's what they did.
Yeah, unfortunately, you lose your coach, and then Penn State and Ohio State play this weekend.
Yep,
the 12 o'clock game. So that'll be their first test. Of this top 4. So one of them got to lose.
Yeah.
So again, depends on what it looks like, what this game Saturday looks like. If it's a runaway, you lose badly, they may drop down. If
Yeah,
Miami wins pretty well, I mean, it could pick up. It could, move back around. I mean, that's kind of the way the landscape of football is when you have these teams that are top tier in the same conferences in the same division. You're going to end up having something like this because, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Texas A&M, are all in the same conferences trying to vie out for the same. But do you?
yep.
Again, one of the things you, as a school, are you still looking at day to day? Are there things on your mind to making that 12-game playoff? Are you worried about conference championships before that still?
Yep.
All those things play the effect on how that works out.
Absolutely. But yeah, we hardly ever talk rankings, so I wanted to kick that in since we had a little bit of time since they're on the bye week. Obviously, next week we'll have more to talk about, some other things to get into before we preview their next game. But I think the Jackets are still in a good place. They got a really good start, and then I think the Haynes King injury is what's getting them. When he gets back, I think they're going to start rolling again, and that is going to be their best shot to pick up at least one win in the next 3 games, and should be good to go after that. But we have reached the end of our show. Bummer, I know. The horses are in the barn because we're going to call this one something along with horses because we've said horses like 8 times tonight, and we weren't even talking about SMU, which was crazy, or Boise State for that matter. But this has been another great edition of Up with the White and Gold. He is GaTechJon Watt. I am Jeremy the Impact York. We will see you guys next week. Deuces, gooses. Go Jackets.
Go Tech.